Welcome back. Today it's text, structure, and purpose, the questions that ask what the author is doing, not just what the passage is about. Students lose these by answering the topic instead of the purpose. I run the same 3 checks every time, and today we'll mark up 5 together, from a gentle warm-up to a genuinely nasty pair at the end. Here's the whole method. Check 1, name the job. Is the question about the whole text or one part? Main purpose and overall structure are whole text. The function of a sentence or detail is one part. Fix your scope before you read the choices. Check 2, say the author's move as a verb. In one sentence, describe, argue, complicate, portray, qualify. Say what the author does, not what the text is about. Check 3, predict, then verify every clause. Lock your sentence, match it to a choice, and confirm every word of that choice is supported by the text. Question 1, our warm-up. Check 1, name the job. The stem asks for the main purpose of the whole text, so our scope is the entire passage. Now say the author's move as a verb. The passage walks through the dance piece by piece. The angle points toward the sun, the length of each run gives the distance, and the other bees read the pattern and fly straight to the food. Every line is teaching how one bee tells the hive where to eat. So the move is to explain how the dance carries a message. Lock that in before you read a single choice. Now the choices. A says the purpose is to argue that honeybees are smarter than other insects. The passage never ranks bees against anything. That is invented. Set it aside. C says it describes the structure of the honeycomb. The comb is only the stage. The passage is about the dance, not the wax. Rule it out. D says it compares the dances of different bee species. There is one dance and one species here, so there is nothing to compare. Cross it off. B says to explain how a honeybee tells its hivemates where food is. That is our verb exactly. We keep B. B wins because it names the author's move explaining at whole text scope. Each trap grabbed a real word from the passage but missed the job. Question 2. And notice the stem changes. It asks for the function of the last sentence, so our scope narrows to one part, not the whole text. Read just that sentence. The record was never intended as a message to ourselves. It is a bottle tossed into the cosmic ocean, addressed to whatever might one day find it. What does it do? The sentence before it voiced the skeptics. Nothing aboard can play the record. No human will retrieve it. This last line answers them by naming the real audience. The move is to rebut the objection. To the choices. A says the sentence raises a new objection. But it opens with but and pushes back. It answers an objection. It does not add one. Toss it. B says it concedes the skeptics are right that the record failed. The opposite is true. It says the record was never intended as a message to ourselves, refusing their premise. Off it goes. D says it gives technical detail about how the record was made. There is no manufacturing here. The sentence is about purpose. That one is gone. C says it answers the skeptic's objection by clarifying whom the record is meant for. That is the job. C stays. C is right because we judged the sentence at part scope and named what it does rebut, instead of grabbing a nearby idea. Question 3. Back to the main purpose. So our scope is the whole text again. Check 2. Say the author's move as a verb. Look at what piles up. She taps and listens, shaves a curl of wood, taps again for weeks, keeps no measurements, distrusts every caliper, and says the wood tells her when it is done. None of that explains violin physics. All of it paints a person who works by ear and instinct. Predict. To portray a maker who trusts intuition over measurement. The choices. B says the purpose is to explain the acoustics that make the plates resonate. The passage never touches the physics. It shows a process, not a principle. Scratch it. C says the author argues handmade violins sound better than factory ones. No comparison is ever made. That claim is imported. Drop it. D says it lists the tools on her workbench. The caliper shows up only to be rejected. The text is not cataloging tools. Gone. A says to portray a craftsperson whose method depends on trained intuition rather than measurement. That is the move. A holds. A captures the author's move at the right scope. C is the trap that rewards a comparison the passage never makes. Question 4. This is where structure questions get costly. The stem asks for the overall structure, so we map the whole text as a sequence of moves. First, the century-old explanation: rivers rolled the boulders into place. Then evidence that complicates it: the stone comes from mountains 100 miles north, far beyond any river's reach. Finally, a new account that fits: vanished glaciers dragged the boulders south and dropped them. Hold that sequence: old explanation, complicating evidence, new account. Now the choices, and on structure questions you test every clause. A says it describes a landscape, catalogs the instruments used to study it, and ranks theories by popularity. No instruments, no ranking, 2 clauses invented. Knock it out. C says it poses a question, surveys competing experts, and concludes the puzzle cannot be solved. But the passage settles on glaciers, so that last clause is false. Away it goes. D says it states a hypothesis, details an experiment testing it, and rejects the hypothesis. There is no experiment, and the river idea is replaced, not tested and thrown out. Eliminate it. B says it presents a long-accepted explanation, introduces evidence that undercuts it, and offers a new account that fits. Every clause supported. B wins. B is the only choice whose every clause survives. Each trap slipped one false clause in among true-sounding ones. Matching by gist misses it, but going clause by clause catches it. Question 5, the hardest of the day. The stem asks for the function of the second sentence. Yet a year-long study found that visitors in the most crowded halls remembered the fewest works. That fixes our scope to one sentence. Read what comes before it. Museums judge success by attendance, treating a packed gallery as proof of worth. The word yet flips that, and our sentence delivers a surprising result that cuts against it. The move is to challenge the opening assumption. Check 3. Predict, then verify every clause, and these traps are built from scope. A says the sentence states the passage's overall conclusion about how museums should run, but the conclusion is the last sentence, capping tickets. Right idea, wrong element. Eliminate it. B says it gives an example of a museum that capped its tickets. That example is the third sentence, not this one. Cut it. C says it defines what museums mean by cultural worth. The sentence defines nothing. Push it aside. D says it introduces a finding that challenges the assumption in the first sentence. That is the job. D takes it. D wins on scope and precision. A and B both describe real parts of the passage, just not the sentence we were asked about. That is the signature trap of function questions. That is the method. Name the job and its scope, say the author's move as a verb, then predict and verify every clause. 10 fresh text structure and purpose questions are waiting in the printable practice test. The link is pinned in the comments. Work them cold, then check yourself. See you in the next one.